I was searching, but I had no real guiding principle in life. Okay? Then I became a Hare Krishna devotee. So now, that he says is conventional religion. Now, Krishna consciousness, not exactly conventional religion, but still in the general, it's a structured lifestyle, and it's being handed to you, it's being given to you. So whether it's Christian, Muslim, any other religion, you get some religion. So you're following, you're doing the, like praying 5 times a day, or you're doing 16 rounds, or you're whatever it is the particular religion demands of you. And it's institutional, it's structured, and so on and so forth. And many people stay on that second level all their lives. And they can have a peaceful and happy life, if they're not too inquisitive, or don't become too, if they can accept the kinds of problems that arise in institutional life. Because all religions, everybody here, I don't have to tell you, there are problems that arise. So he says, then there's the third stage when you become doubtful. And then you go into, and in Christianity it's called the dark night of the soul. And then we call it viraha. We call it separation. So when you're separation and you're feeling that separation, and separation is always accompanied by doubt. When you feel separation, when you're feeling separation from God, when you're feeling separation from your own spiritual stability, then you go into a period of darkness. Now for most people, that's a period of lost faith. And you can go, and then many people get stuck in that level. Right? Many people get stuck on that level. They become atheists, or they become agnostics, and so on. I see constantly every day when if I look around on the internet, wherever I go, there are so many people. I used to be a Catholic, I used to be a Protestant, I used to be whatever, and I gave it all up. Now most of these people are only giving it up because they have an incomplete and insufficient understanding of their own religious meaning, of the underlying spiritual meaning of their own tradition, or whatever. So now we so if they could understand, if they actually understood what they did, then they would see that their criticisms, for instance, if people become an atheist because why? Because they have some, there's something, for instance, one guy, I remember when I was going to India one time, I was in the New York subway, and some fellow was sitting next to me in the New York subway and was telling me his great realization. He had some great realization. He says, no, we're not made in the image of God, God is made in the image of man. And this is such a cheap, kind of realization, kind of a cheap insight. But he was so proud of his insight, now he's a great atheist because he had this insight. But if he actually understood properly, this would, if he understood, if he understood things properly, this would not be a problem for him, right? So when you get to the point, then there's the fourth stage where you get to, and this stage is sometimes called, they call it a new naivete. A new naivete. So the naive understanding of God, the naive understanding, you can simultaneously hold in your mind the intellectual understanding and the naive understanding. So you're being naive in the early stage. In the early stage when you first become a devotee, then you're naive. Most especially ISKCON people, especially us. What the heck did we know about anything? When I became a devotee, I didn't know anything about religion, didn't know anything. It probably was good that I didn't know anything about religion, because I probably never would have been a devotee if I had known anything at all. But I didn't know anything, and so I became a devotee. I was attracted, somehow or another. The attraction was there, prasad, the deities, Harinam, and that caught me on a subliminal level. But at some point, and even the philosophy also, Bhagavad Gita and so on, all these things were meaningful and attractive. But at some point, it became overload. And it went beyond me, and I stopped being able to, I kept following, because most of the people were not following like that. I was going after Radha. I was saying, I read Bhajan Rahasya, and I saw that what Bhaktivinoda Thakur was saying, this is where you've got to go. So I said, let me go. I said, let me go there. That's where we're supposed to go. Let me go. But when it's like when you run too fast, then you maybe trip or fall. So maybe I wasn't ready. But now I'm still convinced. I'm convinced that Radha Bhakti, you have to go straight to Radha Bhakti. Don't tell me that you can't do Radha Bhakti. Don't tell me that you can't think of Radha and Krishna and Raho Leela and so on. This is the real. This is our meditation. In Ramananda Rai Sangvad, he said, what is the meditation? He says, what is the supreme meditation? What is the supreme story that you're supposed to listen to? And every single time the answer is Radha Krishna, Radha Krishna, Radha Krishna. So we're not supposed to do it. If we don't do it, if we start thinking about, Vibhavari Shesha Aloka Pravesha, Varaha, start singing Varaha's names, start singing, even Nrsingadev. Okay, Nrsingadev, but I mean, people are going around with the shirt with Nrsingadev on it, and having Nrsinga deity and so on. If you're going to worship Nrsinga, that's fine. But that's not what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came to give, is Nrsinga Bhakti. He came to give Prahlad. This is one of the first things, Maharaj, when I came back to Canada, one of the first books that I read was about, it was a study of ISKCON. Some psychologist had gone and interviewed people in ISKCON. And he was, one of the questions he was asking, what is the main story that the devotees like? And he said, nearly all the devotees were talking about Prahlad and Nrsinga. Nearly everybody was talking about Prahlad and Nrsinga. Why are they talking about Prahlad and Nrsinga? Well, because it fit our life story. Nearly all of us were like Prahlad, and our fathers were like Hiranyakashipu. Yeah. So we were Prahlad is giving us in order to worship Krishna, he was ready to reject Hiranyakashipu, his father. So that's what the Prahlad story is about. And the devotees were all saying, we used to love Prahlad's story. We used to put on the play even now, get the Hiranyakashipu. Killing the father. Freud would have a fun with that one. So I said.
So the real Prahlad story is Prahlad story. Mahaprabhu start dancing to see the devotion of Prahlad.
Not
dancing for
no.
Nrsingadev.
No, Maharaj, I'm not saying it's wrong or bad or anything like that.
Yeah, no.
I'm saying that, but still, we don't, when Laghu Bhagavatamrita says the devotees, Prahlad is here, and you go from Prahlad, after Prahlad there's more.
Yeah.
And what our story is the story of Radha and Krishna. Radha and Krishna, this is our story. The story is not, it's not that we don't say, we know the story of Prahlad and Nrsinga, but that's not our central story. This is not the centerpiece of Krishna consciousness. So it's there because you have to have a rich panorama in which, Okay, I'm going.
And also you are actually start, Kanishtatikari, mathematically.
Okay.
That you
No, Raj, please. It's a very nice subject.
now you are but you change it little bit subject.
Well, this was the same. I was saying because
Yeah.
now I was comparing the Kanishta, Madhyam, and Uttam. So even before I read this, I was already saying that it's a bit complicated. I'm going to leave it for today.
Okay.
But basically the same idea is there, because I was talking before. Kanishta is the stage of simple acceptance. That you're in Kanishta stage, you accept simply. You're not intellectually, inquiring so much into the. You're satisfied with what the answers that you get. You're willing to accept on authority, and my guru said. So because your guru said, and people still, if you're happy with that, fine. I'm not trying to. The purpose is not to destroy people's faith in their guru. If your faith in your guru, I'm sure that your guru is not telling you to go and kill people. Though sometimes the guru does tell people to go and, you can be, and people do silly things in the name. Well, it's happened in ISKCON has been. Perhaps the most marvelous educational tool that God ever devised, to give us warning about what not to do.
But it's worth to know. It's like this Christianity needed like 2,000 years. ISKCON just 30 years, espresso.
So that's a great. So it had a rapid a very quick explosion after Prabhupada left, and all the gurus.
Espresso religion. Espresso the religion, creme de la creme.
Express. Maybe that was the power of the holy name.
There's one author, his name is Thompson, and he wrote a book called Primitive Christianity.
Mm-hmm.
And the 10th chapter of that book describing how Christianity came to the surface and what the processes were going there. When I observing what I was part of, so it's the direct description of what happened.
Well, it happens always, like they say that the founder leaves and then everybody goes into confusion. So, this is exactly, even Bhagavatam in the 4th canto, it says the same thing. So, it's not a particularly, surprise. But what happens now, what do we do with our confusion, you see? So that confused state, that was now, can I say that the Madhyamadikari stage is a stage of confusion? I don't think so, but I mean, it's certainly that there's in the space between Kanishta and Madhyama, there's going to be confusion. Just like there's going to be confusion between the state of Madhyama and Uttama. Because your world view is going to change. When you become a Madhyamadikari, then what is the question of the Madhyamadikari is that he's not, his relationship is no longer just with the deity, but he's starting to see the deity present in humanity. He's starting to see the deity present in the bhaktas. And so he has those different relations with different people, but the main thing about it is that he's getting the vision of God's presence within the bhaktas, and also to some extent with but he can't see them in the non-devotee. That's where his problem is.
Uttamas is everywhere.
But then the Uttamadikari, the Uttamadikari has gone past that. But each one of these stages requires a major revamping of thought processes and a major revision of the way that we look at the world. And people people aren't willing to make the kind of sacrifice that when you go from the kind of institutional, faith-based, Vaidhi Bhakti, scriptural authority, this kind of mentality, if you ask anybody, like for instance, what the kind of thing, that is present in ISKCON, kind of, militarized, discipline type of thing that you have, and doctrinal, like all the religions really, in nearly all the religions, you have the same kind of straitjacket dogma, and so on, and restricting the intellectual and behavioral freedom of individuals. And the characteristic of Raganuga Bhakti is right away. It says that you reduce the hold of Vidhi Bhakti over you. You reduce the hold of the authoritarian. You become more independent. You become individualized. Anyway, I think I've talked enough, Maharaj. I gotta go.
So Anand, you are giving.
Maharaj.
I feel so much rasa in your cut. Yeah.
You see, when I'm speaking darshanik, then there's the rasa is floating underneath. It's like this is the iceberg, and underneath is the rasa, frozen rasa, ghana rasa.
This is the foundation.
Yeah. The
The
rasa is
foundation
yeah.
is not strong. Rasa cannot flow.
Yeah. So the philosophy is only there to make the rasa, so that doubts will not corrupt our tasting of rasa. Yeah. Because in order to experience rasa, you have to suspend disbelief. This is the thing. This is the expression. Suspending disbelief. In order to go into if you listen to a story, if every step you're going, I can't believe this. This is not true. This can't happen. If when you're listening to some story being told, and every step you're going, your belief system is being challenged, then you can't get the rasa. How can you get rasa? Your mind is interrupting. It's interfering.
Right.
So what we have to do is we have to take the mind and tame the mind really by philosophical understanding, and the proper philosophical understanding, and according to our needs, and then we can suspend disbelief and we can see what's happening. How is rasa? Why is it rasa? It's rasa. How rasa is happening. If I start thinking Radha and Krishna, they're living on Goloka, Vrindavan, how can I believe that there's a planet somewhere called Goloka and there's a boy playing flute and that's God? I mean, this is this kind of thing. People start getting doubts. But if you understand that this is rasa that is functioning, that what is going on is the rasa vaisaha is manifesting, then you can understand, then you can get it. And then you let yourself go, and you let yourself flow into the lila, and you become part of the lila. You become one with the lila. You float down the stream of lila. All right.
Oh, Jai.
Jai Shri Radhe Shyam.
Jai Shri Radhe.